Okay, today we're going to check out this video called Gen Z's Take on Financial Advice. So I haven't looked at this video yet, so I'm pretty curious to see what it says. Now, I consider myself as a millennial, so yeah, I have no idea what Gen Z would think. But yeah, let's have a look.
Smashed Avo, almond flat whites and the latest iPhones. Millennials and Zoomers are all too familiar with their stereotypes.
But some are taking a very different approach.
Millennial and Zoomers? I thought you meant boomers? Zoomers?
To spending and sharing their wisdom with each other. So what can we all learn from this new wave of budgeters?
Young people planning financial security in 2022 could be forgiven for splashing their cash and their tears into their oat flat whites. But instead, some are forging a new path, turning away from the traditional stereotypes and turning to each other to share their smarts about saving. So they don't need to call on the bank of mum and dad when it comes to settling down. What can we all learn from the new faces?
What is this? Woke budgeting. Holy moly. What is going on here? What an interesting financial book that is.
Of budgeting advice. Well, for more on this, we're joined by Wisland, who wrote the book Woke Budgeting. Great to talk to you tonight. Now, you get a job and you work real hard, Cameron. That's how you get rich, right?
I think it used to be. I really think at the moment now in this current economy, it's not. It really just isn't anymore. I think people now have to work smarter, not necessarily harder, but find new ways to create kind of multiple income streams and think outside of the box, because the classic, rhetoric you get told of get a job and then you work hard and then you'll be sweet, right? It just doesn't happen anymore. At least not, I think, for my generation that are finding that, the rising costs of things quite hard to compete with.
Okay, so I can't really tell how old this guy is, but he looks like he might be in his, I'd say, 20s, and he's talking about working a 9-to-5 job is not enough and having to get multiple income streams, which is all fine and all, but I get the feeling that he probably just read some finance books and later decided that he's gonna write a finance book himself. I mean, I honestly don't know. I would. Okay, here's the thing. I prefer probably seeing someone that has a little bit more experience, probably to write a book. But again, maybe I'm just being a little bit judgy. I'm gonna keep an open mind and see what he says next.
So you're on your third house and you're only 25. How did you do it without any help from your family?
Well, I mean, my wife's been a massive help. We used to live in Auckland, and when we were looking to save for a job, we did all sorts of things. We bought a car to rent it out. It made income through that. We did Uber Eats. We, both. Well, I worked a full-time job while she was studying. I made pallet furniture and sold that. It was anything we could do that would then result in making some money.
Okay, so he's 25. He's got 3 houses. He used to live in Auckland. Uber Eats. I highly doubt that he got his money from doing side gigs. There's got to be something else going on here.
We were able to pull together a fairly small but okay deposit to then move down to the Kapiti coast where we wanted to raise our children, to buy our first home. We spent a little over $8,000 to renovate that, and a year later sold it for 100 and something more thousand than it was we bought it for, and did the same again in our last house, and are now able to be in the privileged position of building a house, which is just incredible and definitely wouldn't have happened if we didn't buy when we did and do the lots of different things, which we're still doing now, because our house price, we've just got the final price back and it's
Okay, so realistically what he actually did was he played the property game. So he must have got in at a good time frame, and they probably got maybe an older-ish property, because that's usually what you tend to be able to get when you first started, renovated the property, sold it for significantly more, and used the money that he got from selling the property and playing the property game, and now he's actually on the ladder, so to speak. Like, one of the other things that he said was his wife helped out a lot, which could potentially mean that his wife really helped out with the initial deposit for the property that they first started with. So this is not exactly like the side hustles, that you could do. So basically, he had some help, which is fine. Everyone needs a little bit of help, but there's nothing but it's different saying that you did all this side hustle compared to you got some help from somewhere else.
Gone up by 30%, so still definitely working on those side hustles and getting additional income coming in as well. Yeah, it really helps.
So Cameron, what would you say is your top tip for people wanting to save money?
My top tip is start with the expenses you already have. So look at your insurances. If you have a yearly review of those, you can check that you're still getting the best rates. Go out there and get new quotes, and make sure as well that you're looking at any talents that you have and what could you do to monetize that and outside of your standard working hours, because there's always ways that you can turn your skills into cash.
It's a pretty incredible story, Cameron, although you're not a believer in strict budgeting, right? Why is that?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so he mentioned that using your extra talents and do more work outside of normal work hours. The main problem is, for a lot of people, the main working part takes up so much energy that there's just not enough energy for them to also run a side hustle to be able to earn a ton more income. Now that is the problem that a lot of people are actually facing. So I would say, why not try to maximize the amount that you can get from your main job? Like, if you can really improve like your income that you get from your main source of income, your main job, you try to improve that first, and then you add in the side hustle on top of it. Like, there's no point in, say, doing a minimum wage job and then for like a very long time, and then try add in like this tiny bit of side hustle. I would like to think that the more important thing is to maximize how much you gain from your primary position.
I have a lot of out there ridiculous shoes to prove it, but I think you've got to enjoy it. You've got to be motivated and keep that kind of motivation going. If you are sticking to a cent by cent budget, it's going to be really hard, especially if you have those days where you just want to splurge out and go to a movie or something. You need to have a buffer in there, because you need to keep yourself happy and motivated and not burn yourself out.
Hey, well, thanks so much for the tips, Cameron. It's great to talk to you, and congratulations on the book as well.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right. So this is apparently Gen Z's take on financial advice, which, again, essentially get a house, renovate a house, sell the house, and now you're on the property ladder. This is... and this is not... It's not even budgeting advice. It's not even saying that you should really budget. It's essentially save up money, especially if you have a partner or parents that can help you get on the property ladder and then get on a property. I probably would like to at least have a look at his book to see some of the things that he's actually saying. This is something that I will be quite interested in. But apart from that, this is not really anything that new or even that creative. Look, these days you're not going to be able to just run some Uber Eats or, take some Uber passengers in your off hours and be able to afford a house. You've really gotta, you actually have to budget really, really carefully. If you are don't really have any support, you trying to get on the property ladder, budgeting is so important. You can't have, income coming in and then you pretty much spending it all straight away. It kind of defeats the purpose of having a side hustle. If the more you get is the more you spend, you will never be able to get anywhere. So I would say improve the source of main income first, get a side hustle on top of it, and strict budgeting if your goal is to really improve on the financial front. And of course, it's New Zealand. Get on the property ladder. Anyway, I'm going to look up his book and I'll see you guys later.